Hello. You're listening to Questboard, a podcast where we make up random characters. My name is Brandon.
And I'm Tiffany. Just so you know, we are not professional writers in any way, shape, or form. At least we don't claim to be. We just really like tabletop RPGs, and we do this for fun.
And we are back with another character jam.
Woo, character jam.
And I guess we're actually wanting to do a theme, because
Yes.
we're actually setting a theme this time instead of just random.
Dark and spooky.
Yeah. So, Tiffany, you have a separate deck where it's just the Call of Cthulhu themed ones.
It's not specifically Call of Cthulhu. It's called Dark Myths, and it's a more of a dark and stormy night type of situation, more psychological, like cards and things. So it is very well suited for Call of Cthulhu.
I think we've done that before.
Yes,
we've
we have.
included once and only once. Where it was the was it the first one?
I don't remember. It was a while ago.
It was like with the idealist, and
Yes.
that we came up with like the ultimate villain,
Mm-hmm.
and that was really cool. And so we're going to just try to make this entire episode, both characters, around the theme of actual like darker, maybe in Call of Cthulhu or Monster of the Week
Mm-hmm.
kind of characters.
But this time I have mixed the Dark Myths deck with the Gothic Punk deck. So
And I have no idea what's in that.
definitely dark and spooky.
So we have a theme, and that's kind of
Woo!
cool. We might do different themes in the future if
Yeah.
we feel like it. Not just fancy or anything like that. So,
Mm-hmm.
Spice things up.
Yeah, a little spice here and there.
So why don't you describe our first one? Oh, also, I will upload these images to Twitter at QuestboardPod, or if you're watching this on YouTube, it'll be showing up on the screen while we're doing this.
Right now. Sorry. I always pick a point when I put on the picture in YouTube, so it happened right then.
Are we talking to editing Tiffany right now?
We're talking to editing Tiffany right now.
Oh my God.
She exists. She just doesn't talk very often.
Well, she doesn't really edit.
Hey, I edit video.
Oh, that's true. You add decal for the video.
Our first character, in the class section, we ended up with the Paranoid card. So our character doesn't necessarily have a tabletop game class, but they're very paranoid. The quote on this one is, "I'm not imagining things. There's been a car following us everywhere ever since the other night." The race card that usually sits behind the class card says social vampire. I'll let you make of that what you want. For our origin, we have a ship. So this person's origin has to do with a ship, or flat up started on a ship, maybe. You never know. Their background, shadow person. That is a very creepy picture, and I love it. Beautiful artwork.
Oh, yeah.
It's gorgeous. I have no idea what shadow person means, but that's fun. Let's talk about our bonds. The bond on the left side is a confidant, who just so happens to be a spirit. So, ghost. Cool. And this person is meticulous. Their quote is, "Let's repeat everything one more time. The formula must be exact. One more drop or one more second of exposure, and the result could be fatal." So, very meticulous person. Our other bond on the other side is a superior, who is an urbanite werewolf. That's fun. Under the who question for that one, teacher. So this superior just so happens to be a teacher. For the mark of the past section, we have hunt. And the question on that one is to who? Fisher. A fisher. So fisherman, fisherwoman, someone who goes fishing. For impetus, the thing that drives this character, humiliation. So why? Love. By who? A bartender.
This is so much harder compared to fantasy.
I know, fantasy, you're like, all right, magic. That's the answer.
Okay.
What do you got? Anything?
I think I got something.
All right.
I think I need to Google something real quick.
What is a social vampire?
No, it's not that.
That's not that. What is urbanite werewolf? I feel like that's just a werewolf that
Okay.
exists in the
So,
nowadays.
This takes place in the 1920s.
Oh, there we go.
when the social vampire became a vampire when they were on the Titanic that sank in 1912. I had to look
Nice.
up the year.
Yeah.
Basically, the vampire, like, they were a crewmate, maybe even like on the higher end of the social standings of not like the below deck third class on the Titanic, but maybe
Okay.
on the upper class.
Where Rose was.
Sure. There was a shadow organization or shadow person that basically was the Titanic sinking wasn't a fluke accident. It was the like vampire societies or like anything like that basically found a way to disappear a bunch of people and no one questioned it or blood or anything like that. Also, this could be played in Vampire the Masquerade, which is also a tabletop system.
There we go.
But one of the vampires bit our paranoid social vampire, in which turned, but then the rescuers found his body in the water and he was able to be saved, but he was turned because he was bitten.
Okay.
And basically during the changing period, that is when he met his superior werewolf to teach him about like beyond the veil kind of sense.
Right.
In which like the paranormal and all that stuff.
Okay.
And his confidant is probably a spirit of like, I was thinking maybe his brother or her brother, or sibling basically, that has like slight OCD, but was also killed during the Titanic and then was just lingering as a spirit.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know about Mark of the Past hunting a fisherman or being, and I thought maybe the humiliation from the love of a bartender, maybe the bartender is like one of those you see in those movies where they're usually the front face of like a underground organization.
Yeah, they're the one who people come to first. I'm like, yes, what's the password?
Yeah, that kind of thing. It's like, oh, down to, like here's the staircase down to the basement.
Your party's in the back room type of situation.
That kind of situation, but it's like one of those organizations to get blood because he's a vampire and all that stuff.
Right.
And there was like maybe like a humiliation of you're not really a vampire or you're not really part of the shadow organization or anything like that.
Because you socialize with a werewolf.
Yeah. And
They're
but he or she is very attached to the superior werewolf because helped them survive in the first place and in the beginning and all that stuff.
Yeah. So for the Mark of the Past, like the hunt, the fisher could be one of the rescuers that came to find people and rescue them after the ship sank. And the hunt could be like them trying to find just someone alive, someone surviving. So that could be like the Mark of the Past. This person was rescued by that fisher. Maybe it wasn't one of the actual rescue people. Maybe it was like a fishing boat that heard about the incident and came in to help people.
Oh, how about, you know how there was the rescue people who like through the actual Titanic? What happens if this paranoid vampire basically was taken on a different boat because they were doing the whole human trafficking and finding an excuse to have people disappear? What happens if then he falls off that boat and then it's like way off to the side that the actual search people or the normal people who are searching for the bodies is not going to be looking in that area.
Gotcha.
And then this random fisherman just so happened to come across and save their life.
That would work. There you go.
And what happens if that fisherman was the werewolf and that's how he started the training and teaching and all that stuff?
Why was the werewolf out fishing?
Maybe the werewolf, to basically push back the hunger for eating human flesh and all that stuff, just eats a bunch of raw fish.
There you go. Yeah, he could go out and hunt up fish up a bunch of fish to then bring back and like leave for himself when he turns. So that he gorges on the fish and then not hungry, just takes a power nap.
Yeah. Or likes to sleep in the boat and away from people or anything like that.
That's a great way to keep the werewolf away from people.
Yeah. So maybe it's like that.
Yeah.
And the werewolf and him, now the newly turned vampire, sees the brother spirit.
Yeah.
It's like
comes up out of the water like, why is it so cold?
It's like that one show. I think it was like on, I want to say like AMC or something like that. It's called like Being Human.
I loved that show.
It's where it's a vampire, a werewolf, and a spirit all are roommates.
Yeah.
There's a British version and American version. Yeah, it's kind of like that.
I watched the American version. I've heard great things about the British version too.
I like the American version. I didn't see the British one.
Oh, I've heard good things about both. So I enjoyed it. I loved the concept.
Where they're just dealing with their own problems and all
Yeah.
that stuff.
And just like they've got this agreement that, they can all stay in the same house together. It's totally fine. Yeah. So that's like this vampire doesn't know anything about, the social circles of vampires.
No, he knows the social circles of regular humans because of his higher status,
Mhm.
but then he's also paranoid because the shadow organization that turned him, he's not a part of it, he's not aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
So he's always wondering if they're out going to finish the job, basically.
Right. So I was thinking the social vampire card actually meant like he gets what he needs out of socializing. So he was a social vampire before he became an actual vampire.
That just means he's extroverted.
Yes, he's extremely extroverted. And now that he has to hide, that's going to ruin him. He's going to be so annoyed by that.
Well, no, I think it's in the beginning it was, but then he's back to his social ways,
Mm-hmm.
like possibly going to bars and all this and that before the prohibition.
Right.
But he's now able to blend into human society. He's just a social vampire that way.
Yeah.
But he's just not a part of this secret organization of where they're all vampires or werewolves or whatever.
Right. And he's trying to get into that. He's
either trying to get into that or he's jealous or anti them because they're the ones who ruined his life.
Oh.
And so then
yeah.
if the party is like, if this is an actual player character, then it could be a situation where they join the party because they're also against them and it's a common enemy.
There you go. That works. I really like that. I think that came together pretty well.
It's that ship origin, I'm like Titanic.
And the moment I saw it, I'm like, that's essentially the Titanic. Not quite. It's not as big, but it made me think that as well.
No, well, it's because Call of Cthulhu or anything like that is like most popular time frame is like 1920s, 1930s. Yeah. And it's just like, when was the Titanic?
You're like, oh, good. That
I couldn't really fully remember the year the Titanic sank.
You, the history buff?
I'm actually bad with the year.
Oh, I am too. That's mostly why I failed history. The other part was because I just didn't like it.
Side note, I'm going to admit something here. I took history class in college.
Yeah.
I got a 1.2.
Wow.
Which is like a D or something like that.
Yeah.
But it was, you need in college, where I went, you need a 2.0 to go to the next class. But if you just want credit and you don't have to go to the next class. You just need a 0.7 or higher.
Wow.
And so when I found that out, I'm like, I'm not taking this again. Also, that class was at 8 in the morning.
Ew. Who wants to listen to history at 8 in the morning?
I was so tired every day because that was when like my sleep schedule was very late and sleep in very late. That I was just so exhausted every time.
Wow.
And so it was a combination of that, and I'm really bad at remembering dates and years.
Yeah.
I understand concepts of history.
Honestly, people who remember the exact dates or the exact year something happened, I am honestly impressed. That is a very good talent.
Well, on the minor things, everyone knows the big ones, though.
Well, yeah, I know when my birthday is.
That's not the big ones I'm talking about.
That's the big one I know.
Everyone knows 1776.
Do they?
Hopefully. Okay. Everyone in America knows 1776. Everyone in the world knows 1939. You don't know 1939?
I'm giving him the Tiff doesn't know what you're talking about face for those of you listening.
Okay, you do know 76, right? Not even 76.
It's a date, yeah.
1776?
Yep.
When we signed the Declaration of Independence?
Oh, that's when that was.
Oh my.
I know 1492, because that one's in a rhyme.
Oh my god.
It's when Columbus sailed the ocean blue.
We've known each other for years, and this is,
You know I don't remember dates.
Okay, well, 1939 is when Germany invaded Poland.
Cool. Or not cool.
The start of World War II.
Yeah, that's bad.
That's not cool.
I don't.
2001.
I don't know history. Is that 9/11?
Did you just say is that? Oh my god.
No, I actually said was.
I'm canceling this podcast.
Well, it was nice talking to y'all, folks.
Just switch to the next character.
I'm already doing it. Okay, our next
I'm cringing
character.
in a ball in this seat.
He was just sinking lower and lower down into his seat with the disbelief at how I don't remember what dates things happen.
You were alive for 2001.
I was, actually, yes. That's why I vaguely remembered that one. Our next character. In the class section, we have the fun card, Manipulator. Believe me, I don't aim to lead your people, but this position benefits you more regarding the negotiation with the boss. So leave it to me. Oh, and they're a social vampire again.
Yeah, I immediately noticed that.
Yeah, whoops. Well, that's fun. Anyway, well, that doesn't necessarily mean vampire. That's social vampire. So they get something out of socializing with people.
You're still going down that
I'm still
road.
going down that. All right, origins. Road. On the road. Maybe they're always traveling or something. I don't know. Background, non-human. Fascinating. So their background is that they are not human. And honestly, the picture on this is really cool. It's looks like a rat folk type person, like Mr. Splinter. Mr. Splinter?
I was gonna say
Splinter Sensei?
Splinter from TMNT.
Yeah. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Great, no matter what generation makes it. Our first Bond on the left-hand side is a confidant. Who? A confidant. We got the same card twice. So, I don't know, a confidant who happens to be a wild werewolf. So there's a fun card. We have a wild werewolf. Our Bond on the right-hand side is convenience relationship. With who? A fallen hero who is an elder werewolf. We got two different kinds of werewolves here. That's kind of interesting. Mark of the past. Logistic operation. Let's say where? In the sewers. With who? Someone who is brave. Quote for this one is, "Come on, friends. Let's not allow our trembling legs lead us away from the truth." Impetus. What drives this character? Eluding fate. We didn't get a Y card drawn. That's annoying. About, though, is cultist. So they're eluding their fate that has to do with a cultist. I'm going to take the Y from our manipulator card there at the top because it's got the same symbol. So psychopathy? That's why they're eluding their fate? I don't actually know what psychopathy means.
I don't know what that means too.
I'm gonna Google a word. Psychopathy is a neuropsychiatric neuropsychiatric disorder marked by deficient emotional responses, lack of empathy, and poor behavioral controls, commonly resulting in persistent antisocial deviance and criminal behavior. Fun. So psychopath.
Okay, my stab at this, which I'm not exactly sure.
These ones are a little bit harder.
I would say I'm gonna just say the vampire.
Okay.
Basically, the vampire is a leader of basically a group of werewolves, like very much out of his element, his or her element, where the elder werewolf, who was a fallen hero, basically the elder werewolf, under the guise of humans, used to be a werewolf hunter back in his day. But it was a fallen hero when he stopped hunting werewolves, when possibly the vampire, or before or after the vampire, but then started realizing not to hunt them, but then wanting to help the kind of basically integrating or trying to be a part of society, or not basically eating people, mass amounts. And the vampire basically wanting to use this opportunity to get free blood out of werewolves instead of humans. And so it manipulates basically the werewolf saying, hey, I'm trying to help you on your side and all that stuff, when really just wants the agenda of getting their blood.
Okay.
And so it's mostly like the elder werewolf and the vampire that's on the road to different areas and all that stuff. And maybe like a wild werewolf, meaning ones that not a part of any group or organization, by like manipulating them into being a confidant and getting information of location of other werewolves or territories or anything like that.
I was going to say a lone wolf.
The mark of the past of, what was that card again? I can't fully read it.
Logistic operation.
Logistic operations in the sewers. That could be just a moment in which
That's just smuggling, isn't it?
they were capturing werewolves and like maybe like expelling them from the city through the sewer system or anything like that. Then maybe vampire got a little bit more blood than usual or anything like that. And I think I think the main purpose of the vampire is to have the guise of trying to help werewolf kind,
Mm-hmm.
but through selfish measures of just getting blood and just gaining power through influence and all that stuff. The
Yeah.
social aspect.
Right. So it's eluding fate. So they're trying to elude a cult,
A cult, there's
possibly the other vampires trying to stay out of that. Because that could be considered cultish.
maybe, but I'm thinking maybe the cult, maybe there's a cult of werewolves or like anything like that that believes that the whole alpha pack thing and trying to like they are the dominant species they need to rule over and like destroy cities or anything like that
Mm-hmm.
and not be in the shadow.
Okay.
Maybe trying to avoid that or to try to
Trying to-
avoid them.
Stay out of that so they don't go crazy.
Yeah, or to start a war basically.
Yeah.
They're like underground railroad kind of thing of just like trying to help out and through non-violent ways towards humans.
Right.
And I don't know how to make the vampire non-human.
Well,
I got every card but that.
honestly, a vampire is non-human. So if you want them to be an actual vampire again,
Well, yeah. That's why I implied for like his or hers motivation is just to gain influential power over werewolves and just to like free blood that's not through humans
yeah.
so that it's easier to get and less risky.
Yeah. Okay.
Got anything else for that? Because I can't think of any other kind of connection. I mean, we could change up the cult.
Yeah.
That one was like a little bit of just a random stretch.
Well, it's like eluding fate. So this is something this person would normally be fated to do, fated to be a part of. And why they're eluding it, why they don't want to be a part of it is they don't want to be a psychopath. Or
Maybe okay, not to incorporate the psychopath one.
okay.
Well, if we go with the vampire cult, what happens if because the vampire is like a lower ranking one, if he joined the vampire cult, he's gonna start on the bottom.
Yeah.
And he or she wants to be on the top and want to have power
Yeah.
in that sense. And so to go with this one, like creating your own group so that the vampire could be on top of that
Yeah. I
and
can see
have
that.
the influential power.
And maybe they want to avoid joining the other vampires because the other vampires do drink human blood, and that leads to consequences with the humans.
Okay. I think it's the faded of just vampires stick with vampires
Yeah.
and don't associate with werewolves.
So once again,
But-
we have a vampire associating with werewolves.
Yes, but this one's manipulating the werewolves
Yes.
out of their own greed.
Yes. It's all.
And
it's all
everyone
about them.
else, all the other werewolves think that he or she is just a vampire that's trying to help them out
Right.
when they have their own secret agenda.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There we go. That is our.
Normally we would just have overarching stories or anything like that, but
No, this is really
because-
just all like motivation of the character, really.
yeah, but because this isn't fantasy and we know fantasy
less.
tabletop better, we can't really think of overarching story or like things to do
There is
in the
one card
campaign for this because we don't know Call of Cthulhu that well.
There is
Or
one,
Vampire the Masquerade.
there is one card that did get left out.
Which one?
Road.
I did say that one.
When did you say that one?
The vampire and the elder werewolf, they're always on the road going to city to find different werewolves.
Okay, I missed that part. Cool. That is all cards accounted for. I think this one actually comes out really good because like this character, it would be better played as an NPC, not a player character, because they're in
Yeah.
charge of
I could see this
This
as
group-
being a mini boss.
kind of a mini boss. Like you think they're actually helping at first. These could even be characters in the same campaign. Even they could be within the same storyline because you think this vampire is actually helping the werewolves. You think they're a noble person, then you realize no, it's actually kind of shady behind the scenes type of thing.
Yeah. But I think for the first vampire, it was more I just wanted to survive daily life.
Exactly. And if that vampire ever meets this vampire, they're like, oh, hey, you're friends with werewolves too. We could be friends. And psych, nope, I'm only in this for the blood.
Or maybe the elder werewolf would talk to the teacher werewolf
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like try to get them a part of this
Yeah.
second werewolf group. And then that'll pull in everyone else.
That would
the
definitely
the
would.
spirit and the vampire.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I could see for the second one, First one I could see as a player character.
Yes, definitely.
Second one I could see as a villain for like a gang boss, basically. Some side quest thing to do in a city.
Definitely a mini boss though, not the BBEG.
Oh God, no.
Yeah,
Okay, I guess we have 2 characters down.
that'll do it.
If you like this themed episode of Character Jam, you could let us know on our 2 social medias, Twitter at QuestBoardPod or on YouTube. If you search QuestBoardPod or podcast, it should show up.
One of those.
If you incorporate any of these characters into your stories, then please let us know. We would love to hear what happened or what was done about it.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you have a job posting on our normal episodes, let us know on either of those sites. I think with that, I wish you all a good night.
And happy questing.